to another edition of Smarknado. I'm your host, Eric Druckman. With me, as always, the Danaconda, Dan Sesnit. Dan, I see that you have future women's tag team champions now in your ranks.
Yes.
Their Smart Order has grown. So how
Yes,
about
by
you
one.
take that away, that detail, Dan?
Yeah, we haven't been around a little bit because, as Eric had mentioned, the Smark Nation, the Smark Order has grown. My wife gave birth to a beautiful baby girl this past Sunday. Healthy, happy, beautiful, wonderful Nora Madeline. And we couldn't be happier. And I think I mentioned to Smark Nation I also left my job recently, so I am free from those shackles of the catering that is my former job, as they like to say, and I have a new baby, and everything is fantastic, man. Everything is just really good. So what's been going on in your life?
Oh, man, just really keeping busy and watching wrestling at the same time. But, like I said the last time you asked me about it, I've been very up on the exercise and diet,
Good,
and I've been feeling a lot better.
good,
So, I know, I
good.
know that there's so many podcasts out there for self-help and improvement and all that. That's not really why we're here, but
We just
guys,
improve wrestling knowledge. That's all we do. We try
yeah,
to improve wrestling knowledge. But
all
no,
I
I'm
gotta
good.
say is
Good for you.
you start yourself in a routine and you start feeling really good. You get addicted to feeling that good, and I feel like that's kind of where I'm at right now, and I don't
That's
think
how.
I'm gonna stop.
That's how I felt when I started smoking crack.
I'm addicted to feeling good, but
Um,
I hope everyone here is feeling good about these last weeks leading into WrestleMania. We are obviously in crunch time right now. It is a much better landscape that we're in WWE than previous years because of obviously no Vince McMahon. There's no one there that's really just going to fuck up all the plans and turn like a good story into a pile of shit.
have you
Um,
been watching every week? Have you been watching SmackDown and Raw? Because I've been catching highlights mostly. So is it actually coming together, or are you just saying that?
yeah, it really is coming together. Yeah.
Okay.
And I think that, the addition of The Rock every week has made it so fun. And SmackDown is like can't miss television.
Now, is
And
it the same
I,
shit every week? Because that's the way it seems to me. And
I don't
and this is
know.
coming from a guy that loves The Rock. The Rock was my guy coming up.
I
I
don't think
think you
it's
know
the
that.
same shit every week.
It's
They're
not.
still
Okay.
they're low key. I'm sorry, but like when Cody slapped The Rock the last time he was on TV, that was a really huge moment, and that hadn't happened before. And I think that The Rock last time he was on there, he was taking some serious digs at Cody's family, saying that
Okay.
he was a mistake. I think that's really entertaining. I would not say it's the same shit every week. I mean, I think
Okay.
the people that are saying that it's the same shit every week are just kind of seeing, the visual of The Rock being out there with Roman Reigns, and they're just saying to themselves, "Oh, this again." But the substance of what is actually going on is always a little bit different, and they're throwing something a little bit more interesting along the way. So
So
I,
what's your
I, I
take
highly encourage anybody to watch SmackDown right now.
now? But what's your take on the idea that there is nearly no wrestling on these shows whatsoever? You know what I mean? It's basically been a I don't want to say a soap opera because
Listen,
that's the cliche, the old cliche. I'm just asking. I have not been paying that much attention, so I'm
I
not trying to
wouldn't.
like
I think
argue.
that I think that's a bit of an exaggeration, to be honest with you. I
Okay.
think that there are, that they have the matches. Obviously, the big sticking point for that point to me is a couple weeks ago when I was at your house actually, and we watched that episode of SmackDown with,
Yes,
it opened up with The Rock and Roman Reigns, and it just went very, 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 very long. And
it did.
yes, in that case, there was a lot less wrestling on the show, and it obviously Tiffany and Naomi, their match got cut ridiculously short.
Embarrassingly so. But yeah.
Yeah, and that was a real shame. And for what that was, I mean, you can't say that you didn't watch that segment and you weren't entertained, though.
I'm
And yes,
entertained. I'm entertained. Like I said, I'm a rock guy. I'm just, I don't know. It's 2024. I'm just not. It's weird for me to say it at this point. I'm not very nostalgic for that era of wrestling right now. It's
you
just not.
see,
It's
I
not my
don't even
thing.
see it. I don't see it as nostalgia as much as it is. This is like a new Rock character. Like this is
Okay.
kind of like it's the older version of the Rock, but like he's got power and he is just out there, just like throwing his weight around and just being a dick. And
Yeah.
yeah, some people will say that it's a retread of like what he used to do. I don't really see that at all. I think that he's taking elements of like who he's been through his entire career and creating it into this like mogul character that true to life, who he actually is.
Okay. I'm gonna
He's
watch
taking,
tonight.
yeah, dude. I highly encourage anybody to watch SmackDown. It's fun. Like it feels fun. That's the main point for me. Is like, okay, yeah, maybe some wrestling has to be stepped aside a little bit, but this whole thing with The Rock, it's a lot of fucking fun, man. Like I don't know what else to say.
I just like wrestling, and when I see 20 minutes on a full wrestling 2 hours, that's just concerning to me. But again, it is The Rock. He is entertaining.
I hear you, Dan. But at least from my perspective, I feel like my plate is pretty full with wrestling. I see a lot of fucking wrestling every week. I watch indie shows every single week. I watch Collision. I watch Dynamite. I watch some TNA. I don't like if they're gonna have a lighter wrestling show on SmackDown, but do a lot of really entertaining in-ring segments for the purpose of leading to WrestleMania. So be it. I'm fine with it. And I know that this is something. Again, this is leading to WrestleMania. I don't think that this is going to be like an all the time thing on SmackDown where they're going to be having these like 30 to 40 minute segments. I don't think that that's going to be the norm.
I hope not.
This is the road to WrestleMania, man. It's going to be a little bit different, but again, bottom line, shit is fucking fun.
Again, I have not dug in the way that maybe I should.
Dan, the ruiner of fun.
No, I've seen it before, and maybe if you say it's not a retread, then I mean, I think it is a slight retread, and that's hard to say.
I think that if you go into the show with a completely cynical mind, that it is a retread, and you're gonna feel the way that you want to feel going into it. Like maybe you'll walk away thinking that it is a retread because you've already put yourself in that mindset. But I think I think people need to go in with an open mind.
Okay, so retread thought aside, is it taking away from the other programs that are going into WrestleMania season, or are they getting enough time?
No, I would say Logan Paul and Randy Orton, they're getting their points taken. I would say with Bailey and Io Sky, it's a little bit different because I've seen it spread through both shows, and maybe that is because Rock is taking up so much time. But still, like they're still like telling the story there. I don't know. I'd have to do an audit of
I'm not asking for an audit or anything. I'm just curious what your off the cuff was. Just if you think that everybody else is getting enough time, and I have some free time now, so I can watch things like SmackDown a little bit more thoroughly, I guess. And I'll start tonight, like I said, and I'll get back to you this time next week with a better, more informed opinion, I'll say.
For sure, man. Now, my question for you also is, did you watch Raw?
No.
This past week?
No.
Did you watch the Gauntlet match at all?
I watched the Gauntlet match.
Okay, well,
I saw what I needed to say, and that is the primary part of the show that I think that needs talking about.
Absolutely. And this is kind of a weird one because, as everybody saw, Sami Zayn is the one that went over Chad Gable at the end, and I feel like everyone kind of thought that Chad was going to get the opportunity here. Um, just to skip ahead, these two were the final two guys in the gauntlet. And by the time Chad came in, he saw that Sammy was just like beaten down. So I liked the humbleness of Chad Gable to say, "Come on, Sammy, get up, get yourself together, because we're gonna wrestle," instead of taking advantage right there. And I think that may be a story leading in for the next coming weeks. Like maybe he should have been more aggressive with Sammy right from the start. But bottom line is, Sammy leveraged pin, ended up getting one over on Chad Gable, ended up getting the Intercontinental title shot at WrestleMania. Now, I think that Sammy, put in the right position, is the biggest baby face in WWE. We already did see it when he was leaving the bloodline and he had his program with Roman Reigns and all that. So I'm very much happy that Sammy is going to get a spotlight match. But, considering the video package that they put on for Chad Gable of how he was going to do this for his daughter, and it just means more to him. And also considering the fact that a lot of people say that Gunther's best matches during this Intercontinental title run have been against Chad Gable. So it seemed only logical that they would have another match, and this would be the third match. So presumably I think Chad Gable would go over. But they're going with Sammy, and now this makes me think to myself, I think that Gunther's going to retain.
I do too, and I don't think Mania is the time. No disrespect to Chad, and maybe he can be, but he's not as big as Gunther. I don't think that that's the spot. I like the Sammy, and I don't think.
I'll tell
Here's
you.
what I'll say. Here's what I'll say. Sammy taking that loss at Mania to Gunther, if he retains, is not going to hurt him as bad as Gable taking that loss to Gunther.
That's true. And to speak to what you just said about Gable not being as big, I never saw more Kurt Angle in Chad Gable than I did on Monday night, and he looked like the most believable motherfucker in that arena.
It's the easy comp. Yeah, it's the.
But when he put down the straps and everything, and you saw how fucking jacked he is, like that's a dude that can just fuck up anybody, in my opinion. So
completely viable, completely believable. I think they're pushing that a little too hard, because I don't know. It's easy to do that in wrestling, to take a character trope and just reuse it. But Kurt Angle is kind of.
He's not a completely Kurt Angle, but he can take a little bit from Kurt Angle. He can take a little bit of this, a little bit of that, but still be his own person. Sure. And I think that he has established himself as his own character at this point. Yeah. He's not really like Kurt Angle. He's a little bit corny like Kurt Angle, but I think that is an endearing quality.
He's a lot corny, but yes, it is endearing.
Yeah, but like that was always an endearing thing about Kurt, and I think that's the same way for Chad.
Sure.
But I think, man, I'm really interested. I think that Chad is still the guy that's going to take the belt from Gunther. It's just not going to happen yet. You think it's going to be Ilya?
No, but I want it to be.
I want it to be Ilya too. Ilya's got a really weak main event at Stand and Deliver, if I do say so myself. I don't know if you heard.
No, it's.
But the Dawn of NXT, the Dawn.
Oh.
That fucking Tony. Guy, he's getting the title shot because out of nowhere he was just like, I need to have more power around here. So like he just fucking beat.
So Ilya's not coming up anytime soon.
I don't know unless he drops the title to fucking Mama Luke. I don't. We'll see what happens, bro.
Fucking better not. That's embarrassing.
That would suck because okay, I didn't even think we were going to be talking about this, but. What the fuck? That's the stand and deliver match for Ilya Dragunov against Tony D'Angelo. Get your fucking head out of your ass, HBK. Seriously.
I mean, I haven't watched NXT in months, so I honestly
Yeah.
don't know exactly what's going on. But
Yeah.
I assume is
Friend of the
Stand and
show,
Deliver a
John,
pay per view, or is it like one of those like
yeah, it's
special
I mean
episodes?
yeah, PLE, it's gonna be on Peacock.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
Stand and Deliver. It's one of the biggest ones of the year. It's no different than the NXT New York that we went to during
Okay,
WrestleMania.
I couldn't remember if it was one of those like, special episodes that's on Tuesday, but it's got a name similar to,
No,
big
this is like
business for
this
Dynamite. You know what I mean?
the one that coincides with WrestleMania weekend is always like a special event.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a trash main event. I don't
It
know what
is.
the rest of the card looks like, but that's not good. Sorry,
It's
Tony D'Angelo. I like you in the tag team scene. I do.
I didn't mind that either. I didn't mind him in that spot, really. But just this fucking all of a sudden boost to the main event is just fucking stupid and uninspired. And I think it just shows a lack of talent at the top of that card there. Especially they have Corbin and Braun Breaker in a tag team, and then you have Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams. Anyway, we're talking about the Intercontinental title, aren't we?
Yeah, we were talking about the Intercontinental titles, but what I was going to say about the Intercontinental title, if we're going to go back to that, is that I think that was kind of a crusty finish in that gauntlet match, and we might still yet see Gable involved in that title match somehow, some way. And I always thought the smart way to take the title off of Gunther was a triple threat match because it, doesn't allow for him to take the pin.
Mm-hmm.
There's not many people that I would say are strong enough to do that to him.
But wouldn't you also say though, especially if they have a guy that they're really trying to build up, like say they do bring up Ilya Dragunov, wouldn't you want to see Ilya or whoever they are, trying to build up, beat Gunther straight up in order to get that merit to their character? But not only that, but like I don't think that would really harm Gunther because he had such a long reign.
Sure, but there's also that mystique factor too. Like I liked what Asuka did with her NXT title run, right? She just said, "You know what? I'm done. I've beaten everybody that's thrown at me. I'm going to relinquish my title. Have at it." I think Gunther should go that route or lose it. I don't think he should have his shoulders pinned to a mat after this kind of run. It's because it's just been so dominant that I think that he can get away with the relinquishing the title, a la what Joe did, but better.
And that would make him even scarier going into a title match against Seth Rollins.
Anybody, yeah.
Mm-hmm. For sure, man. Well, all in all, I think that this has been an interesting road to WrestleMania. I'm looking forward to WrestleMania, taking off like 2 days of work that Friday and that Monday just to fucking hang out and watch wrestling because
that's what, like 3 weeks from today?
Yeah.
Or this weekend?
Yep.
Okay. Well, I'm looking forward to it too. I'll start catching up on the road starting tonight, and we'll do a little bit more in depth than me saying that I'm all crabby about it, I guess.
Yeah, man. Well, let's just talk about what you do like. It's AEW.
I do like AEW. I do.
Yes.
I do. And there's good reason to like AEW as of late.
As of late, yes. I think that they have the last 2 weeks post Revolution have been firing on all cylinders. And the first thing I want to touch on is just from this past week's Collision.
Uh-huh.
We had, what was I gonna say? We had the debut of the Elite. They came out. You know what? I kind of don't even want to talk about Collision now that I see everything here.
Listen, man, there's some good shit on Collision. I thought
there's
Adam Priest.
Yeah. Oh, Adam Priest. You're right.
I definitely thought Adam Priest had a cool little debut there on I thought Mystico versus Angelico was a fun match as well. all in all, it was a okay show. It didn't do the same, damage. Not, I don't want to say damage. It didn't do the same, have the same effect on me as Dynamite did. Obviously,
No. I guess one thing I also want to point out is that they're going to have a tag team title tournament as they announced last week, with Darby and Sting relinquishing.
Yeah.
But FTR came out for an interview and they were cut off by the guys that they're going to face in the first round, the Infantry, Sean Dean and Carly Bravo, who have been busting their asses for a really long time. And I think that they really showed everybody that they're actually pretty fun on the microphone. They do have personalities, and I would like to see them. I would like to see more of them because I want to know more.
Over.
I want to know more about them.
They got over big time in Collision. And I'm not really like a big crowd reaction guy. It's not how I judge whether or not I like wrestlers. It's not my thing. But I can tell you that the crowd in that building absolutely adored them. And, it's not always easy to get behind a military gimmick, for me. But these are guys that served, right? And along with Trish Adora, have a really good little stable there.
It's not boring military gimmick like we've seen many of them be, though.
Yeah,
there's a lot more like color and flair to it.
Yeah, there's a lot of personality behind it, and and I think that they deserve a shot, especially if they're going to have added focus on the tag team division. It's important to have tag teams that are tag teams, right? Not just I love. Ricky Starks and Big Bill, but they're not a tag team, right? So if they're going to make this tag team tournament more about consistent actual tag teams, then I love that the addition of these guys.
I do too, man. And I hope that they add more guys that get mostly time on Ring of Honor, guys like the Workhorsemen, guys like the Outrunners.
Yeah, true tag teams.
And the Outrunners, I think that they're so great, and they've mostly been really entertaining jobbers on TV. But I don't think that they should be put in a role where Hook is beating them in a handicap match.
Probably not. But it's funny enough to make it happen. It's funny enough to make it happen. They're not a team that you have to sit there and take seriously. But it is a team that
But I'd like to take them just a little bit seriously. I'm
eventually.
Not, yeah.
Eventually,
I'd like to at least see them be competitive. Anyway, we got big business to attend to, so let's talk about this past week's Dynamite big business. We get opening the show a large, a limo van came up, and who it's going to be. And then CEO started flashing across the Titantron, if you will. And that is the new identity of Mercedes Moné. And
the Tonytron. Let's call it the Tonytron. We don't want to call it the Titantron.
Yeah,
man, this was exciting. It was surreal, even though I think we all knew what was going to happen, right? It's still surreal to see Mercedes Moné, formerly known as Sasha Banks in AEW. This
in
is
in
AEW. It's a game changer, right? In so many ways. What's your true to life opinion on it? And have you seen the contract numbers?
I haven't seen the contract numbers. I'm sure it's fucking ridiculous. I'm not really a money guy like that.
It's always interesting,
anymore, if you will.
I think it's interesting because you don't often hear about wrestlers' contracts, and lately it seems like we have more and more, right?
Oh yeah,
more like you do with WWE or with the NFL and whatnot. So
how much is she getting a year?
Over 10.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So big ass contract for Mercedes Moné. I think that she is somebody that is worth it as long as she stays healthy. And that's the big thing for me.
That's it.
That would probably be the only reservation that I have for them, for me to even
I would
establish
hope.
this as some kind of risk. The risk is only the injury. I don't think it's really anything else that's going on with her.
My
But
hope is that Tony Khan was smart enough to have some form of I don't want to say an injury out, but some form of a clause, because her injury history is apparent.
Did he?
I don't know. I'm just saying I hope
Oh.
in some shape, form, or fashion he was smart enough to do that. And I would hope that, anybody would in some capacity, you know what I mean? Some form of, out money or whatever. I mean, I'm sure the contract is airtight and good enough, but yeah, it's a concerning history. But she's the best American female wrestler this century.
I mean, not in my opinion. I mean, like, as far as a commodity, I think she's very much up there. I think that perception wise, yes, she's in that conversation. I'm not going to say that because it's just not my opinion.
Okay.
I don't feel that way, but like, yeah, okay. Like,
most marketable,
as, most marketable. Sure. Absolutely.
Okay. Biggest star power.
Again, I'm not trying to diminish the big moment here. And I think
I don't think you are.
I think it's a really big deal that she's there. And, I think that they need to put her in a pretty big feud to start. I don't know if Willow, as much as I love her, is big enough as a first feud, unless they do something like Mercedes turns heel on Willow and it makes Willow like a huge baby face. Like, I think that would be really big things for them.
I think so.
I hope they go in that direction, because I think Mercedes is far more effective as a heel.
Oh, yeah. That's no question about it in my mind either.
Yeah. So, but also I learned something from this promo. I didn't really, at least myself, I don't know anybody else, I didn't really know that much about, Mercedes's life story and how she, dropped out of school at 13 years old to take care of her brother, and then eventually went into wrestling school. I didn't know that part of her life. I
didn't know much. It definitely made her come off as sympathetic, which means
it made her feel more real.
It makes me feel like they're going to go the babyface route for a little while with her, at least, which is a little bit of a head scratcher when it comes to Willow, because Willow is the babyface of the AEW roster. So,
I think that this could just be like your classic AEW competitive babyface versus babyface rivalry. It's just based on the fact that these two had battled over the New Japan Strong Women's Championship before. Or was it the New Japan Strong Women's Championship? Or was it the IWGP? It was the Strong Women's. Yeah, because she lost to Julia. Yeah, that's right. But yeah, I'm really excited that she's there, and I can't wait to see her mix it up with a lot of
everybody.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like Thunder Rosa is probably going to be the next in line for the program with Tony Storm, which I'm very excited about. But if that means that Thunder Rosa is going to be in the upper echelon again, I'm all for it. We still got Jamie Hayter that's on injury. Once she comes back, I think it's going to be fucking amazing.
You got Megan Bain that's going to be coming in as well.
Megan Bain that's going to be coming in, and I know that maybe there's some people listening that may think to themselves, oh, well, Megan Bain hasn't really been wrestling that long. Who knows how good of a match she's going to put on. But let me tell you something. She was a candidate for match of the year in her match against Julia, I believe, in Japan. So she is more than ready. She is Damian Adams trained, huge reputation in the U.S., and then had a spectacular run in Stardom. She is more than ready to take over.
Yes.
So there's just a lot of women's talent that are coming around the pipeline. And again, like, you still have Athena in Ring of Honor. Yep. Whenever they want to unleash Athena on the women's division, that's a game changer right there too, man.
And it goes to show you, like, it was a bit of a head scratcher to me the way that they laid out the show and the match card, right? But I think to me, having Willow and Rio in that main event spot was directly indicative of the debut of Mercedes, right?
Oh,
She was
absolutely.
basically
And
she
I
was
think
basically
that
like,
when,
my debut show is going to be main evented by women. Period.
yeah, and when
So
you're when when you're billing the show as big business, it's obviously built all around Mercedes Monet. You're
yeah,
gonna want to like bookend the show with her in some way, shape, or form.
yeah,
So this was a way to do that, and yeah, I think it worked overall.
absolutely.
Um, but yeah, obviously not like a very well established storyline with Mercedes and Willow. The commentary team did say that they had history in the past, so we are expecting that they are going to face off with each other. But I'm interested to see what the first actual real feud Mercedes is going to have. Do you have any guesses, Dan?
I would like it to be Serena Deeb, to be completely honest with you. Um, just because if you're gonna portray yourself as that, that being Serena Deeb, I think it's a good kickoff feud for her.
Yeah, I think so too, man. The only thing for me is like I shudder to think what those back and forth promo segments would look like. But the match is gonna absolutely fuck for
Yeah,
sure.
I don't know. I want to see it against everybody. It doesn't make a difference. We got a 3-year contract minimum from what I've read, so I think that there's going to be plenty of time to flesh out feuds with every top person on the roster. I don't know when Jamie Hayter's return is going to be, but I think that that's the one I want to see the most.
How about a
Uh,
heel Brit coming back?
I thought that that's what we were going to get, the way that she said CEO with her fingers.
Mm-hmm.
Like when she was like CEO, like DMD, and I was like, oh,
That's a good catch, Dan. I didn't even
um,
realize that.
so
That's very
it,
easy for them to do now. Now that you
yeah,
pointed that out.
so it could very well be it, and I don't really know where Britt's been or if she's been injured or whatnot, but I will definitely say that the Britt can carry the mic work there, and Sasha Mercedes can carry the ring work for certain.
I don't think Mercedes is necessarily a bad promo.
No, she's not. She's just not the
Okay,
best.
not the best, but yeah, I mean, Brit is definitely a step up from Deep in that
It's not
department.
her strength. Yes.
Yeah.
And it's a huge first feud because Britt has always been sort of seen like almost like the first lady of AEW, right?
Hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
so I could see it.
Not only that, like I'd like to see Brit come back with a little bit new, a newer edge, maybe a different look.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I want to see a new Britt Baker. That's more aggressive and cutthroat.
Like the
Kind of like
old
Adam
heel
Cole.
Britt Baker. Like the old heel Britt Baker,
Yeah.
but be even more aggressive. Yeah, I can see where you're coming from there.
Yeah. Yeah. But we had the AEW championship match, Samoa Joe defending against Wardlow. I'm not saying this to trash Wardlow, but
Poor
I've
guy.
never watched a championship match for AEW for the world title where I was less interested and had zero doubt that the champion was going to retain. So therefore, for those reasons, I was just not invested in this match, man. And I feel like it happened so they can get this whole Wardlow thing out of the way.
Yeah, Wardlow is not it, my man. Like, I'm
Mhm.
sorry. There was a point where I wanted to. I was behind Wardlow big time, but like,
They didn't
it's just
strike when they should have with him.
it came and went, man. It came and went, and
Yeah.
that sucks because he's got the look. He's been cutting good promos. He's not my favorite wrestler in the ring, but
And
he can do a lot of the stuff,
I
right?
thought that the Adam Cole promo package before the match was actually really good too.
Yeah, there was a lot to be said for him, but just something is not going to click anymore. It's like I said, it came and it went.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, that's the sad reality of it.
Yeah, absolutely, man. So yeah, obviously Joe retained, and then of course we get the trios match, the Elite, Okada, and the Young Bucks against Eddie Kingston and Pac and Penta El Zero Miedo. This was awesome, as
Humper.
we expected it would be. You
Yeah,
know?
hot dog match.
Mm-hmm.
Hot dog match here. Yeah, Pac being back just adds such a crazy dimension to every possible angle because you never know where he can show up. He's that wild card guy that can do anything, and God, is he? I missed having him around.
Yeah, me too, man. And yeah, he's going to have amazing matches with everybody. Again, when Okada debuted last week and you saw him and Pac going at it with each other, I was just like, holy fuck, like this is a match I never even thought of before. And hopefully we do that. We do that.
Yeah, I think we're gonna get that eventually. We're definitely, obviously gonna get Eddie versus Okada for the
it's next
Continental
week.
Crown.
And it's not for the Continental Crown; it's just for the Continental Championship.
Yep.
So that's another thing. It does look like they are going to be separating the crown there.
I think that's silly. I think that they should keep them together. I think it should just be a Triple Crown Championship.
You know what?
For at least a little while longer.
I'm for it. You know why? Because I think that Ring of Honor, they kind of need to have their own separate brand. They need to have a championship that all the guys on the upper card of Ring of Honor who are fighting for. I like that Mark is going to be getting his world title shot against Kingston at the next big Ring of Honor show.
Do you think that that's going to be a title change too?
I do. And I like that. I like that the idea of the crown just happening every year at the Continental Classic. I think that whoever is the Ring of Honor champion, whoever's the strong openweight champion, and the Continental champion should all
have to put
individually be in the tournament and put that title on the line.
That's fair.
That's how I would like to see it happen.
It makes it a little bit more interesting. It definitely, but I hope that it just doesn't all get lost in the shuffle because it easily could. Right.
Sure.
But I am all for Briscoe being the guy to take it off Eddie, and I am all for Okada being the guy to take it off Eddie. And if Gabe Kidd ultimately is the one that is the
strong champ,
yeah, then I'm okay with that too, I guess. So
yeah, and Eddie losing all those championships, it kind of aligns with Eddie's arc as a character, he's had his highs, but he's had a lot of lows, and it's all about how he built himself up from those lows.
He did what he had to do. He conquered that demon that was Bryan Danielson. Had an epic series, was the first Continental Crown champion, United States, Triple Crown champion.
And maybe this will lead to Eddie just moving away from that whole picture, and maybe he'll be going after the AEW championship. Because I would love to see a Joe versus Eddie feud.
Oh God, yeah. I mean, who wouldn't? That would be fantastic television, in the ring and on the mic.
So let's do it. And moral of the story here with this match: Rainmaker on Kingston, Okada gets the championship shot next week.
Yep.
All right. So then next it was announced that Ospreay and Danielson is going to happen at AEW Dynasty on April 21st. This led to Ospreay coming to the ring and again, just proving just how much charisma he has, how comfortable he is. Yeah, sometimes people at first, I was watching with Drew and he was just like, oh, well, he's got marbles in his mouth as soon as he opened his mouth. But it doesn't really matter.
You're better than that, Drew. As a well-traveled man, Drew, you're better than that.
All right. I knew you were going to go off on him. But to Drew's credit, I think he got Drew by the end. He believed it.
Oh yeah. I mean, he definitely is a little bit mush mouth, but that's part of the charisma.
Yeah.
Right? I'm fine with that. He's incredible.
Yeah. Yep, but I love that this match is happening. I love the respect. I love the true story of like, Osprey basically used the Danielson blueprint to his career as well,
Well,
becoming
it's
like the best
crazy.
independent wrestler and then moving on and being the best wrestler in the world. So I love that.
I also love that he brought up the Tiger Driver 91,
Yeah.
which was
Mhm.
something that I had forgotten about for a hot second. And then I went, as soon as he said it, I said, because I
Yeah.
thought he died. But yeah, so.
All I got to say is Brian's going to tuck his chin like a motherfucker when he takes that.
He hit better
As he should.
because that was terrifying.
Yeah. Yeah. Next, we had Deanna Perrazzo backstage saying that she has a tag team partner to face Toni Storm and Mariah May. And we know that's going to be Thunder Rosa. And I think that is a great move there. You have 4 fucking stars that are going to be in this tag team match. And from there, let's see Thunder Rosa versus Toni Storm by Dynasty. Let's just make it happen, guys. Because
Yeah.
I think that's going to be awesome. And Thunder Rosa's been sorely missed.
Yes, I definitely think so, and I think that there's a spot for her now, and I do hope that she ends up joining LFI as well. So
Yeah, I haven't seen them on TV in a very, very long time. I
just
forgot they existed until you just said that.
a vignette. I saw a vignette fairly recently.
Mm-hmm.
So
All right, next we had Jay White versus Darby Allin. I gotta say about this match, just like Darby, all right. There's like a line between like I really respect what this guy does, but then there's a line that he crosses so many times where I'm just like, are you fucking stupid? Just stop it. Like you need to stop. And that's kind of how I felt in this match because obviously he was super cut up. He had all these bandages on him. Jay White was going to get the win. It was going to be an easy win, and it ended up being an easy win. And I do like how that match finished, and that like he beat the count and Switchblade 1-2-3, Blade Runner 1-2-3. You don't see that happen too often. But fucking like Darby, I know he got written off TV here, rightfully so. The Sting match could have been him being written off TV, for fuck's sakes. Like this didn't even need to happen. Like
it didn't need to happen, but I
you could give for Darby being off of TV.
I do like that it adds to. I mean, it basically gave us Jay White back, and it led to the.
I didn't even get to that yet. Like I really loved that we established that the Bang Bang Scissor gang is over.
Yeah,
not over like over with the crowd, like over. It's never going to happen again. And Jay White just assumed his dominance, just like ended all this bullshit. And him and the Guns just ran amok on everybody.
Yep. And I like that. I think that makes sense, and that wouldn't have been effective if it was just some squash match that Jay White was in. He had to beat down a beloved character in Darby to sort of get back some of that heat that he had been losing, aligning himself with some of that heel heat that he had been losing, aligning himself with the Acclaimed. So it makes sense to me.
I'm happy with it, man. And yeah, this puts the Acclaimed in a sympathetic position right now too. Maybe they can get a lot of that babyface fire back because I just feel like their act has been a bit cold for a bit. So
yeah,
I
agree.
I would like to see the flame reignited there.
Sure.
As well. And get Jay White back in a prominent main event spot. This is the starting point for a rebuild of Jay White, off to the races. All right, next we have something stupid that I'm reading right now, which is apparently the tag team name of Hook and Chris Jericho, Lion Hook, because he's Lionheart Chris Jericho now. Because I think he is doing this because he's
having a
probably
midlife
not
crisis.
he's not getting the same reaction with the Judas song as he used to.
No. I will say one really cool thing about this match is the entrance gear of the Gates of Agony. Both of them using traditional royal garb of their home countries. I thought that was really, really cool looking stuff.
I didn't realize that was the inspiration there. That's pretty sick.
Yeah, I thought it was very
cool. I mean, what are you gonna do? Jericho just likes to insert himself in random feuds and with random young talent. At the very least, I think it could be interesting next week. Jericho is going to face Hook, and I'm hoping that it'll be a big victory for Hook.
Sure.
And let's see what happens there, because I'm just...
Let's just not talk about it anymore. Let's just move on to the next segment.
Yeah. Kyle is going to face... Kyle O'Reilly's going to face Brian Keith on Collision tomorrow. That's going to be dope. I already talked about that. And then Willow versus Riho. I thought it was a fine match.
Riho is another one of those people, man. Is just crazy over no matter what. I don't. It's incredible to see, and I know that some people that listen to this show have always said, "Well, she doesn't look like she could be believable," but the crowd loves her. Let's just put it that way.
I don't know, brother. I guess I just wasn't really in this match because it was babyface versus babyface.
Yeah, with a babyface having something else. I mean, it was a little bit furtherance of the Willow and Stokely story, but it wasn't something that it wasn't a main event that's going to blow your doors off story wise. It was a good little match.
Yeah, you know what I did wonder. Where was Stat after Willow got attacked by Sky Blue and
I don't know, but
Julia.
I don't know, but Stat's been leaning a little bit, heel, like you had mentioned a couple of weeks back. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's coming sooner rather than later.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that, man, but maybe they can make it work. Just because out of the two, like, I just cannot see Willow being a heel.
No, I know you've always said that, and I've always contended that I want to see it just because I want to see how it could go. But you're right. I mean,
evil Care Bear. That's what it would look like.
But an evil Care Bear sounds fucking awesome. Like, that sounds like such a great character that I would totally be behind it.
The Don't Care Bear. Yeah, but obviously Mercedes came out here for the save. Liked the fact that she did her cool finisher on Sky Blue. I think that was a good choice. And yeah. This was a fun Dynamite that really just mostly centered around Mercedes, as we would expect, because it was her first night, man. Haters are gonna hate, I'm sure. John.
Yeah.
Anyway, Kyle O'Reilly and Brian Keith is gonna happen on Collision, and then
you know what else is happening?
You're stealing my heat. Yes, go ahead.
I'm scooping your heat because I told you about it first. Danielson versus the wrestler Shibata. I'm so excited for this.
It's a fucking dream match, right there.
You know what makes Dirty Dan's nipples hard? Katsuyori Shibata versus Bryan Danielson.
It does. And you know what? I know Daddy Magic doesn't listen to our show. Maybe he does.
Maybe, but
I can almost assure you that would also make his nipples hard.
It had better, because it's a nipple hardening match, if I do say so myself.
Absolutely, man. So yeah, I think that's really it for this week. We got some SmackDown to watch tonight.
Yes.
And I don't know, Rampage. Let's see what's on Rampage. Mariah May and Toni Storm. Got the Undisputed Kingdom against Top Flight and Action Andretti. No. Best Friends versus Dark Order. Does that always happen?
Seriously, every week.
Yeah.
Oh, we should talk about this too because this came across too.
Mhm.
GCW and WWE partnering together for Bloodsport is absolutely mind-boggling.
Is it just Shayna Baszler, or is there going to be more people?
I think it's going to be more,
Oh my god!
which is crazy. So I'm trying to think about just make it Brock Lesnar.
No, no.
How awesome would that be if he wasn't a sexual predator?
Yeah, okay. Then I'm on board. If none of this shit actually happened, yeah, it would be
Yeah,
amazing.
Brock Lesnar just going into GCW with 15 people in the crowd and just
Mhm.
killing everybody. Yeah, it would be amazing.
Bro, you know who they should put in there since he is not in the Intercontinental title match? Gable.
Yeah, he could shoot.
Yeah, big time. Wow, all these possibilities, bro.
Interesting, man. That's wild. That's not one that I think the not I didn't have on my bingo card is a bit overused, but I think it's fairly apt description here because
Yeah,
GCW and WWE working together was not something that I ever could have foretold for real.
no.
For real.
And if this is gonna lead to more entrants, like, could there be a better first entrant announcement into Bloodsport than Shayna Baszler?
No, it's a perfect fit.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect fit.
Yeah. Oh God. So Dan, I think that's it for us this week.
It's a wrap. I got nothing
As
else.
always, follow us on Instagram at Smarknado, on Twitter at Smarknado1. Leave us a 5-star review in Apple Podcasts. Before we go, though, I just think it can't go without mentioning all these fucking amazing matches that had been announced for Oh My Glob. Wrestlers Lab, Smarknado collab, big show, May 26th from the Mecca, Ridgefield Park, New Jersey. We got Bird Law. We got Veda Scott
Woo-hoo!
and Speedball Mike Bailey teaming together for the first time in, I don't know, a while against the Savage Gnomes,
Yep.
Gabby Forza, and Iron Savage Bronson.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting to have arguably one of the greatest wrestlers on the planet on this show.
Yeah.
And I saw this and I immediately said to my lovely wife who just gave birth to our second beautiful daughter, big shout out Nora. I said, "Matt, please go to Jersey in May and see this speedball match." And Veda, no disrespect, Veda. Bird Law for life. But seriously, like, who would have thunk it when we started to get involved with this amazing wrestling promotion that we would be sitting here talking about Speedball Mike Bailey being on this show that
I
we're
know, man.
sponsoring.
I
So
know. It's wild, bro. I'm really excited for that. I'm really excited for the other matches that have been announced, such as Ziggy Heim versus Delilah Doom.
yep.
Uh, yeah, it's overwhelming.
It's
It
very
really is.
overwhelming, and I assume you're probably gonna be going to said show regardless. And if I can, then I certainly will. But I don't know, man. Eric, you got anything else?
I don't really have anything else. I already plugged everything, so I just hope everybody has a wonderful week.
Stay fresh, cheese bags.
Keep watching wrestling.